Hi, I'm Jonathan Wegener, and I'm a co-founder of a startup called TimeHop. But today I'm talking about my previous project, which is called Exit Strategy NYC, and it's an iPhone app that helps New York subway riders. Has anyone in the audience heard of or used this app? Nice, we got a few fans. So if you know New Yorkers, you know New Yorkers hate waiting. They do everything fast. They eat fast, they talk fast, they walk fast. And Exit Strategy helps them ride the subway faster. It tells you where to stand on the train, meaning the front, the back, the middle, exactly the car and the door, so that when you pull up at the right exit, when you pull up at your destination, the door is open and you are directly in front of your staircase. And you hop out and you're the first person out of the station. It's the type of thing that only half the people understand. You talk to most New Yorkers, half of them are like, what do you mean where to stand? I stand on the train. And the other half jump up and down so excited. Oh my God, this app tells you where to stand. Hell yes. And when we launched, we got some hilarious emails, and I want to show you one of them. This is from a user who said, I've been waiting years for this app. It's amazing. I turned this stuff position A1, and I've literally lost girlfriends over my obsession of advancing to the correct position when entering the subway. So this is the story of how we came up with Exit Strategy. Exit Strategy started as a note-taking app. It started as Notepad on my iPhone. I got off at the wrong end of the subway. I was frustrated. I was running late, and I started keeping track of it in the Notepad of my iPhone. And immediately I was like, well, why isn't this an iPhone app? And so I searched the App Store, where to stand on the New York City subway, and no one had ever done it before. And I thought about that for a while, and I was like, no one's bothered to collect. Everyone knows a piece of the system. They know their home and they know their work, but no one's figured out how to tell you the guide to optimize every trip. And why has no one done it? Well, they've never done it because there's 468 subway stations, and you'd have to be absolutely crazy to visit every single one and collect the data. And I'm absolutely crazy. And this is the story of how I undertook that project to document where to stand on the train. The story actually begins with some alcohol. I was at a bar and I was telling some ideas to friends and told this idea, and one guy just pointed at me and he said, "That! You have to do that. You have to build that." And I sobered up the next morning, came home and did some market sizing, and I was like, yeah, this is awesome. I'm going to do this. Most people ask, like, why didn't you just crowdsource it? Why didn't you throw up a website and have everyone send in their home station and their workstation? And the answer is that it's actually kind of complex. There's a lot of complexity. So here's an example of a station. You often have two different staircases, at least two different staircases, and we wanted to figure out the exact car and the exact door that you should get off and kind of which side of the train, whether the doors are going to open on the right or the left, and we wanted to capture all this complexity, and we knew it would just be too complicated for users to send in. Another idea we had was that I'd stand in the first car, and I would ride the subway line from the bottom of the city to the top of the city, and I would just observe whether the staircases outside the car line up, and I would just stay on the train and write it down. Another idea was I'd get 10 friends, pay them all, borrow them for a Saturday. I'd have friends take cars 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They'd take a clipboard, they'd mark whether the stairs lined up with the doors as they rode the entire length of the line. They'd take all that data and they'd collapse it, and we'd compile the guide. What we actually ended up doing was I got my recently unemployed sister and my own unemployed self in 2009 and took clipboards and schematics, and we rode the entire subway system for about 4 months. Every morning we'd wake up and I'd walk to the subway and swipe my unlimited Metro card, and we covered ourselves the entirety of Manhattan and most of the outer borough stops. And we released the app like that, but then we realized, we need some help. So we posted this great posting on Craigslist, and believe it or not, we actually got about 20, 30 replies, and we found one person willing to do the job, this guy Maxwell. And it was great because I'd go to my local Dunkin' Donuts and he'd have the data on a USB key and I'd have cash, and it was the shadiest drug trade ever. you got the USB key, I got the cash, so we would just switch. And so by the time we finished riding the subway for 4 months and having this additional guy help us out, we had a stack of papers, yay high, of all of this data for every station, both the uptown and the downtown directions of every station. So there's 468 subway stations, and we had to document both sides of the platform, going up and downtown. And it led to 1,025 of these, which are handmade in Illustrator files, schematics of every single station in the New York subway. And that, in brief, is the story of Exit Strategy NYC. If any of you are going to New York or live in New York, I highly encourage you to check it out. It's truly a magical app. Thank you.